UFC 322 this Saturday, Madison Square Garden, New York City. Jack Della Maddalena defending his welterweight strap against Islam Makhachev, the former lightweight champion of the world, the best lightweight champion we have ever seen in the UFC, one of the best mixed martial artists we've ever seen step into the octagon. Islam Makhachev is moving up to 170 pounds to try to become a double champ. And guys, this fight is massive. It is humongous. And in today's video, we will be discussing what's at stake for UFC 322. And this will be all about JDM, Giacomo Della Maddalena, and Islam Makhachev. And we will be discussing this fight and these two guys only because I want to shine light on how massive and important and amazing this fight really is. It's not being talked enough about how huge and important and legacy defining this fight is in the mainstream media of MMA. I mean, it's being talked about in like the hardcore, the freaking staples of UFC and MMA media, but it's just not being talked about enough. This is a huge deal, and we're going to be talking about what's at stake for UFC 322. And let's get right into it, starting off with the freaking UFC welterweight champion of the world, Jack Della Maddalena. And to begin talking about Jack and his freaking amazing skill set and what's at stake for him, let's get into it. With a win against Islam Makhachev, his resume becomes infinitely better. Okay? Because we're looking at a guy who got a title fight after beating Gilbert Burns, Basil Hafez, Randy Brown, Kevin Holland. His best win on his resume is the title fight against Bilal Muhammad. And now it was an amazing win, an amazing performance. Easily 4-1, dominated Bilal Hall. Is that halal? Bilal? But could have been 5-0 too. He dominated that fight. Some of the best anti-grappling wrestling defense we've ever seen in a mixed martial artist. But the issue with Jack right now is that his resume's not that great. Lots of finishes, a few close fights as well. He has not fought huge names or guys with really solid resumes. Bilal, he has a really good resume. He really does for the most part. And he defeated him with ease. However, this kind of gets into a freaking another point I have down here. If he loses this fight, that fight could just be looked at as a fluke. And the narrative of Bilal was never that good and JDM was never that good. That narrative starts immediately if he loses this fight to Islam Makhachev. However, on the flip side, if he's able to go out there and defeat Islam, he will prove that he is pound for pound one of the greats of this generation. Defeating a guy like Bilal to win the title, someone that his style just seemed impossible to beat at the time, and beating Islam Makhachev, arguably already one of the greatest mixed martial artists, UFC fighters of all time, moving up a weight class most people think Islam's gonna be better at 170. This will catapult him into top 5, top 3 pound for pound discussions. And it should with a win over Islam. And if he finishes him, imagine the discussions we will be having and just the freaking future matchups we will be discussing as JDM is champion off a win against Islam Makhachev. And also, if he wins and does what he did against Bilal, against Islam, he may just be the best anti-grappler striker in the UFC. Probably that for sure, but if not, in history. Because it's amazing to see a guy with not a background in any grappling arts necessarily do what he did against Bilal, with how dominant Bilal was. And shut up about Bilal should have wrestled more. He barely shot takedowns. He shot, I think, 9, 10, 11 takedowns. 9, 11. Haha. 9, 10, 11 takedowns in that fight. And Jack stuffed them all. And if he can do that against Islam, Islam, man, we may just be looking at the best takedown defense in UFC history, but for sure at the moment, you know what I'm saying? And if he defeats Islam, who's going to beat him at 170? I mean, we're going to be talking about JDM, long reigning champion, breaking record title defense, Jack Della Maddalena. Possible to defend so many times, move up to 185, Jack Della Maddalena. I mean, if he beats Islam, like a guy I think that gives Sean Brady a lot of guy that gives Jack a lot of trouble, or even Islam, is Sean Brady. But if we see Jack go out there and stuff takedowns for Islam, not allow submission attempts, and really neutralize that grappling offense, man, do those fight odds favor Jack so much better with the potential matchup against Sean Brady if he can defeat Michael Morales this weekend. And on the flip side, if he loses, guys, we just talked about this, could just be looked at as a fluke. With that non-so-impressive resume, with a loss to Islam, and just that one win against Bilal sitting there, so many people will be saying that's a fluke. And you know who's going to be saying that. You know what fan base will be saying that. You know? And I'm a Jack fan, so I really don't want that to happen, especially if Islam goes out there and subs him easily. And also, dude, if Jack goes out and wins, or of course if Islam wins, freaking proves point the backwards way, Craig Jones specifics are better than Dagestani wrestling. With how Volkanovski performed against Islam and just what Craig Jones has been able to do to help some of these guys defend against these very skilled, great at what they do Dagestani wrestlers, dude, Craig Jones will be one of the highest paid MMA the highest paid MMA grappling coach of all time if Jack Della Maddalena goes out there and does what he did against Bilal against Islam. Okay? And it will show that Craig Jones specifics, man, it's better than your Dagestani wrestling. Also, the best hands in the UFC. If he puts out Islam, I know Ilya probably takes this cake right now for best hands in the UFC. But if Jack goes out there and pieces up Islam, and we're going to talk about kind of Ilya Islam here in a second, but if he goes out there and pieces up Islam, he'll have a freaking solid argument for best hands in the UFC, considering what we've seen Islam do against good strikers in the UFC. And if Jack can go out there and put on a clinic on the feet, man, narratives will start talking that Jack may be one of the best freaking boxers in UFC history, man. And also one of my favorite narratives and something that's at stake for this fight is that Australia may be the future of the UFC and MMA. I mean, if you just look at the landscape of Australian MMA and kind of that Oceania area in general, man, Robert Whittaker, Volkanovski, JDM, Adesanya, Dan Hooker, and there's a lot, Jack Jenkins, Quillian Salacude. There is a lot of up-and-comers from Australia, even more the Oceanic area, as they call it there. It's becoming a hub for high-level MMA and UFC talent and competitors. And, man, if Jack goes out there and proves he's the best welterweight in the world against Islam Makhachev, he may just set in stone that Australia is the future of the sport. Drop a comment below if y'all agree with these takes and narratives and what is at stake, man, for JDM. Let me know what y'all think, guys. Moving on to Islam Makhachev. We'll start with the big one. GOAT status. Greatest of all time, Islam Makhachev is very much in play depending on his performance Saturday night against Jack Della Maddalena. Okay? Now, and what that we also will get into, let's go ahead and talk about it. If he wins, he overcomes this weaker resume narrative, beats a guy bigger than him, up a weight class, one of the most in-prime fighters we have as champion right now. Or if he loses, it's just going to continue that weak resume narrative. It may even hurt where people have him ranked right now in the GOAT list, not the ghost list. However, if he's able to go out there, implement his game plan, grapple at his will, get a submission win, or freaking push, pace on the feet, tag Jack Della Maddalena up a weight class, you may argue that Islam is the GOAT. Now, his wins before his title reign, barring the Arman Sarukian, Dan Hooker's a pretty good win in hindsight. But They aren't the best wins. Defeats Charles do Bronx Oliveira for the belt. Phenomenal win. 2 wins against Volk. Now that's where this narrative and what's at stake comes in. He's a featherweight, and he looked really small as a lightweight. But that first Volkanovski fight was very close. I've been rewatching it. Very close. But then there's the freaking imprint on that narrative. That second fight against Volk, short notice, was chinny, just got freaking... No, nothing just got happened to him. He was out at the Ilya fight happened afterwards. He was out of shape, coming off the couch. Knocked him out. Dustin Poirier, great win. However, that's out of... My king, Dustin. I miss you, brother. That's out of prime Dustin Poirier. That's an injured hip Dustin Poirier. That's a Dustin Poirier that made it look very difficult. That's a Dustin Poirier that was tagging you up on the feet. You tagged him up more as well. No doubt about it, Islam. However, that is a out of prime Dustin Poirier, who no one ever thought was going to win that fight and made it somewhat interesting. And his last win is Renato Moicano. All due respect, Renato, I love you. Love to be on your podcast one day. That's not the bet. That's a pretty low-level, lightweight win for a guy in Islam who is chasing GOAT status in legacy, man. So, this is make or break, I feel like, for Islam. And that's hand in hand with, is he able to overcome Khabib's legacy? And in hindsight, and in reality, Khabib's legacy, while great, bit overrated. Let's be honest here. But he's already overcome Khabib's legacy, in my opinion. But with a win, double champ status, he's the face of Dagestani MMA. With his skill level, his resume, double champ status, defeating Jack Della Maddalena, it's no longer, it's Khabib's legacy, he was the Yonk, but it was Islam who did it all. It was Islam who really freaking showed the dominance of the Dagestanis. And win or lose, man, it just, this can go so many different ways. Potential super fights, man, one way or another. Are we going to see Ilya versus Islam, win or lose? I don't know. And what's the better option if you're someone who most definitely wants to see Ilya Islam? What's the better option? For Islam to win? For Islam to lose? But then if Islam loses, is the fight still as big? If Islam wins, dude, is he too big at 170? The fight's not that interesting. Is Ilya going to go up to 170? Chase him. Is that even going to be allowed to happen from Dana? I don't know. Could we... Man, imagine Islam Kamaru if Kamaru got a good win. That would be freaking wild, man. That would be nuts. And honestly, I do, like, the move up to 170 I think is good for Islam. More, except, dude, we didn't know Ilya was going to move up. We didn't know Ilya would surge this fast. But, and we never got the Armin fight. However, man, so much of the future and the big fights we want as UFC fans lays on the fact of what will happen in this fight. But even then, there's no real direction. There's no way of telling what happens. It's so compelling, man. I'm so jacked for this fight, dude. Another interesting thing about this fight, how good of a striker is Islam? How is he really that good? Is it more he is bigger than most of his opponents, and they have to be so wary of the grappling that they get taken advantage on the feet? Or does Islam really got it like that on the feet? Is John Pork, old Chonko, helping him out in the gym with that Muay Thai world class? Is he really that good of a striker? Because we're going to find out. Because like it or not, the fights start on the feet, guys. And Islam's pretty patient with his takedowns majority of the time. I'm interested to see what he does with that. How quick he shoots. And what it looks like on the feet against someone in JDM who is on his way to being arguably one of the best strikers in the sport. In the freaking sport, dude. And I'm super interested to see what Islam looks like on the feet. Will he be able to put combinations? Will he be able to sting Jack? Bilal was. However, that's the thing. It's MMA. How much is it he's that good at the actual striking part? Which that necessarily doesn't matter as much because all that matters is you going in that octagon and implementing a game plan that wins, that does damage, right? It's going to be super interesting to see how it's going to show how good he is on the feet, man. And I can't wait to see that because JDM is very defensively conscious, man. So I'm interested to see the power that Islam also possesses at 170. And the last point I want to talk about for Islam is he a weight bully? Is he a weight bully? Because we're going to see him frame for frame against a 170er in Jack. And we're going to see how big he is. And that's going to start a whole narrative, win or lose. Was Islam just bigger than all these guys? Or is Islam that freaking good and he's a 155er going up to 170 to defeat Jack Della Maddalena? And I meant to put Lighterman's skill as well. I feel like Lighterman's skill has been kind of dying out the past year, kind of this year. Or like even with like the Volk Islam fights. Even though like 145ers come up and crush 155ers, but is Lighterman's skill that real? Shout out Lucas Tracy, we miss you. But we're gonna find out. And man, just to end this video, guys, I can't freaking wait for it, man. There's so much at stake in this fight, and nobody is comprehending it. This means so much to not only the sport in the present, but for the future. In future fights we get to see where Ilya may fit into all this, to see the possible legacy, another legacy-defining fight like Kamaru and Islam, to define JDM's legacy and prove he is one of the pound-for-pound best in the sport, and that he deserved everything coming his way, and all the hype behind him. This is what's at stake for UFC 322. Guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you disagree or agree with me in the comments. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Help me get in that algorithm. It'd mean the world to me. And if you made it this far in watching the video, I love you dearly. I love you. Jesus loves you. Watch UFC 322 this weekend. Freaking buy it or illegally stream it. I don't care. I don't work for the UFC. Watch it, though. If you're a casual seeing this, it's must watch. It's must watch. The rest of the card's a banger. And just to set up for the rest of the week, guys, we'll have picks and previews coming out. I think I may make a best bets video. I'm going to look at some odds and some props, see what I think about that. I will be doing a live reaction to the press conference as well. That's 3 videos. Maybe something else in there as well. I'm not for sure. Maybe I may make a video just about the rest of the card for what's at stake, but I really just wanted to highlight Jack Della Maddalena, Islam Makhachev. I just think it deserves all the highlighting it can get. Boom! Like and subscribe. Drop a comment below. Tell your friends. Seen All MMA, the best MMA YouTuber I've seen. Sorry for the past 2 weeks, man. School, work, personal goals. Freaking just busy guy right now. Busy young man. You know, trying to serve the Lord as best I can. Just trying to make time for everything. If you're supporting me, thank you very much. Please support me. Please. I love doing these videos. And I will see y'all tomorrow. God bless.